Al, we're now in the midst of a setup.
Ta-da-bum.
Someone will be set up this episode.
Whoa.
Whoa. I don't remember what the alternate title for this is.
I don't either.
But the current title is You Set Me Up!
You set me up.
And that's what we're talking about today on episode 18 of Jared and Al Watch SHIROBAKO. I'm Jared. Sorry?
You tricked me. That's
Did I?
That's the alternate title.
Okay, I mean, that's very similar.
Yep.
I'm Jared. That's Dark Isle and Ladium.
Hello. Interrupting, sorry.
You tricked me.
You tricked me.
Da-da-da-da. And we are discussing episode number 18 of SHIROBAKO, either titled You Tricked Me or You Set Me Up, depending on where you watch it. So we begin the episode as we are in a dubbing session. Aoi, the director, Katsuragi, and them are all there to watch the first episode recording, dubbing. They introduce themselves to the voice cast and have to say some things. The director just freezes, I don't remember what to say. You're good. And I was like, what do you mean? You got to say something else. You got to remember what you're going to say. And he's like, I forgot. And the cast is like, we heard you. And she's like, remember, win-win. And he's like, oh, win-win.
It's really good.
Aoi just says some things, as Aoi does. And they go through the first dubbing recording for the first episode. Everyone gets to go home except for the lead actress. That is Kyoko Suzuki. She is the newbie they chose to be the protagonist, and she is having a bit of a hard time nailing the voice that they want her to nail. Essentially, she's just very nervous and tense, and just is wound up in a way that they're like, that's not the voice we want. And then they all get crammed into the smoking room, her voice isn't as is the same as what it was when she came into for auditions. It's what's going on? We're all crammed into this smoking booth. It's 4 people. So they come back and they're like, she's basically has to stay over to do redubs of everything. Her agent or person from her agency is like, I'm so sorry. And they're like, it's fine. We knew what we were getting into with this. It's okay. So they have her do some more lines and everything. They're like, hang on a second. We're going to talk about this. The sound director comes in and is just has a casual chat with her. He's like, hey, what did you do before coming here? He's like, oh, I went to the convenience store, got some water. And
Did you go anywhere else?
Did you go anywhere else? He's like, no, I got the water. That was it. He's like, where's the water? He's like, oh, I threw it away already. And then he's like, hey, just say what you just said again. He's like, oh, I threw it away. And then he's like, okay, we'll say that with your the character. He's like, oh, I threw it away. And he's like, you just gotta relax.
Too
much enthusiasm. Just relax. You gotta just calm down. Let everything wash over you, and you'll be fine. You don't have to be so tense here. And then she goes up and does the lines, and it's exactly what they want. She just nails it, and they're like, yay, we did it.
It's pretty awesome.
Yeah. They even this is something they knew coming into this. They knew when they picked her, hey, she's going to be a raw talent. We are going to have to mold her in the way that we want her to perform and everything. So it's not them getting all mad about it, oh, you need to do it this way. Why aren't you doing it this way? Ah, it's just they knew coming into this, she's going to go through some rough times. She's going to be learning pretty much on the fly because she's never had a job this big. And she says that as well. She's like, this is the one show I have. I have to nail this, and that's why she's so very uptight and nervous and tense about everything. But they do a really good job of just making her unwind a bit, just kind of calming her down and just being hey, essentially if we have to be here for a while, we will be here for a while. It's that's no biggie. We'll do this.
We can do it.
We can do it. Afterwards, Aoi goes off to a bar. She meets up with Okura to talk about getting him to do that one background for them. He's drunk.
Super drunk.
He is wasted. And it's just what's going on? she keeps her professional manner the entire time and like explains the situation. He's like, I'll do it, all right, and then just passes out again. So she thinks that he has accepted this job with a very coherent mind.
Yep.
We'll see how that goes.
Yep.
The next day, Aoi contacts Studio Titanic about the 5th episode that they're doing, and she learns that they're only like halfway done. They have not been sent over to Musashi or anything, and she's like, why haven't they been sent over? And he's like, well, the episode director hasn't gone off them. Like, hey, send them over to us today, or by like, you need to send them over to like basically now. And she's not happy.
I mean, do you blame her?
No, not in the slightest. Soon after that, Aoi and Cloudman go off to visit Okura at his studio, and he like shows up and is like, who are you guys? Like, I've never met you in my life. She's like, we met last night. I gave you my business card. He's like, I would never take a business card. I would remember it. I'm good when I'm drunk. And he gets in his wallet and pulls it out, like, looks at it, looks at her, looks at it, looks at her. Like,
I remember you.
So they basically have to repitch to him about doing this, and he's just like a grumpy old man about it. Like, these people wouldn't want me. I don't know what this is dumb. They just want me because I'm a name and all this. And Cloudman's like, I got into this industry because I was inspired by your work and I loved what you did in this one scene and everything. He's like, well, why don't you do it yourself? And Cloudman's like,
you want to.
I honestly can't. Like, I would not be able to produce the same kind of quality that you would be able to produce. So he keeps just like repeatedly rejecting everything. And he's like, well, they would just put 3D animation over it, everything, blah, blah, blah. They wouldn't let me do it on paper. Aoi at the very last thing she does is like, here we brought you some food. And it was from the president, who was just like, hey, tell him we're looking forward to working with him. And he dives in, he's like, oh man, I love these. How did you guys know I love these? And she's like, oh, it came from the president. He's like, wait, he went back to Masashino. And he says he's happy to work with me. You set me up. You let me eat these before you name dropped him. And they're like, you just went in and ate them. What do you mean?
You just started eating them, man.
So he's just like, well, I guess I'll do it. If they're gonna let me do it on paper, I'll do it on artboard. And they're like, yeah, you have the freedom to do what you want with this. And he's like, fine. So they go back. The layouts for the 5th episode arrive at Musashino, and it's like just a stacks on stacks. And I was like, director, you could do this, right? He's like, I could do this in maybe 2 days. He's like, all right, 2 days, you got it. He's like, no. So like everyone's feeling all right, and then like immediately after he starts looking into this, he's like, Aoi, what the is going on with these? And he like calls everyone in, and it's like he's like, look at this, like this is not the right character for the scene. This character is in the wrong clothing. The way this scene is placed out, like they're just in completely different ways compared to like, the scene prior to it. Like, what is going on with this? They're able to get a hold of the episode director and have like a very urgent meeting with him, and he's just like, no, this is my mistake, I'm sorry, but I'm also on like 5 different shows. You can't expect perfection in this. And the director's like, I'm not expecting perfection. I'm expecting you to look at the storyboards and know what you're doing. And then he's just like, well, all right, I guess I'll just go fix it then. And just like storms off. And like also he's like, if you don't stop doing your own ways, you're not going to make it in television. And the director's like, I want to say something, but I can't. Oh, I'm so bad. Aoi basically calls back to Studio Titanic, and she learns that dude just quit the job. Like, he came back and it was just like, I'm not doing that show anymore. And she's like, what do you mean? Do you have anyone else? And he's like, no, I could do it. And he's like, oh, you were an episode director? He's like, no, but I'm in production. I could try it. And he's like, no, we're not doing that. So she hangs up the phone. It's just like panic. And then like she has like 3 different people come to her like, hey, I'm doing this. Need this happen. Like, Okura's gone for like on a vacation and no one knows where he's at. Taro messed up the dates for something. and just something else, and she's just like, oh god, what do I have to do, what do I have to do, what to do? And it's like she thinks, she's like, all right, just calm down, let's just get things kind of getting into motion, and she's able to kind of like fling out some orders here and there, but then she's just like left like, I need a new episode director, and I don't know who to call. Like, the people I would know, like, they're either, you know, they're either we already have them, they denied us immediately at the get-go. I don't know who I need to call. Like, what do I do? What do I do? Thankfully,
Yay!
the right person shows up at the right time. As the door opens and Erica shows up and is like, hello, I'm back.
Yay!
And that's how our episode kind of ends. There is a post-credit scene where you see Okura, like, on a mountain, like, just in the mountains, and he's just drawing. And, like, I guess, like, it's the implication of, like, he's not on vacation. Like, he just went out to the mountains to go draw and, like, figure out the scene. Just get away from everyone. That's, I guess, his work ethic. I don't know.
Who knows?
Maybe not the best way to do it, just, like, drop everything and leave and not tell anyone what you're doing, but...
Not ideal.
It's, you know, artists are sometimes weird like that. They need to go out and just be by themselves in order to get things done. But that's our episode.
We did it.
We did it. We also are now in panic mode again.
Oh my god, the music at the end of this, like when she
so
was
tense,
freaking out, like about who she was gonna get, like it was anxiety inducing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was supposed to be, but like Jesus. It was intense.
It's very intense. So how will we be able to come back from this setback, another setback? Well, you're going to have to tune in next week to find out. And also, we're gonna learn a little bit of history about Musashino.
Who are we?
Yes.
Hmm.
So we'll get all of that next time as we discuss episode number 19 called Did You Catch Any? Catching what? Fish? I don't know. Well, we're gonna catch them.
Catch them all.
Gotta catch them all. That's nope. Can't can't do that. That's not this show.
Nope.
Well, that's going to do it for this episode. So if you'd like more from us, go to seasonalcheckup.com or SEC.cool where you can find past episodes of this podcast and other podcasts like Seasonal Checkup and Seasonal Checkup OVA. And you can find columns reviews on the site as well. If you'd like more from Ann Ladium, go to AnnLadium.com. She's got columns reviews. And you can follow us on Twitter, twitter.com/animecheckup. So next time, join us as we figure out if we caught any.
Catch everything.